Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another discussion today on this drizzly day, which I personally think is super contemplative. I really, although it has been a lot of drizzly days, but that means a lot of contemplation in northern Vermont. Okay, so my name is Kimberly Quinn, and it is my honor and pleasure to have this discussion with you today. Minecraft discussion on becoming the boss of your brain, right? Thoughts come first, feelings come second, and actions or behavior last, right? So therefore, how we think dictates how we feel, and that's the whole foundation of Minecraft. Today this is even more important because we're going to jump right into aligning our thoughts with our desires with a variety of ways. And one is to shift ourselves out of focusing on what's missing. People don't realize, I mean, like, you know, intelligent, because we just do this, you know, we can be super intelligent and out there doing our thing and being professional, and not, when we're on autopilot, we're not getting sometimes. It's like on the back burner, simmer kind of thing. It's not in the forefront of our heads, which is where we want it to be, that whatever, I mean, hear me when I say this, whatever we think about expands. Thoughts expand. So even if you're in this, like, you know, autopilot, just daydream state, and it's not, if it's healthy, great. But if it's not, well, autopilot's not good ever, really, honestly. I can't think of, I don't want to say ever like polarized words, but autopilot's just bad. So let's say you're just kind of allowing, you know, this negative what if thinking, and all of that stuff expands. All of it expands. And once we get that, hopefully we become really, really careful about the thoughts we're allowing in, the thoughts that we're allowing to stick like super glue. Because remember that the subconscious drives the bus. So 95 to 96% of what we do and say, or say and do all day long, is coming from the vault. So we've got to pay attention to what surfaces. And when we get good at it and talk back to it, our thoughts turn into beliefs. It's like they're like the appetizers to beliefs. Thoughts, when they're kind of like thoughts when they get all grown up, turn into beliefs. And that's what we want if it's a positive way. We want to reboot the system. So we're talking about today aligning our thoughts with our desires, aligning our thoughts with our desires. So we're talking about habits, and habits are really just like an everyday word for unconscious, conditioned patterns of behavior. Patterns of behavior. Here's the thing, though. We all know with habits, even if they're not so good, they become very routine. So in a good sense, that's better, because then they take less, you know, effort and energy once they've kind of stuck. And habits are not made or broken, they shift. The average time for a habit to shift and stick is about 21 days. And we say average because obviously adding fruit to your diet daily, which is a great thing, is not the same as quitting smoking. I mean, there are gradients of it, but this is what we're talking about. So, and changing our words. And I hear people say the silliest things as far as what they desire, what they want out of their lives. And sometimes you'll hear something like, I was just listening to Wayne Dyer this morning talking about this. You know, oh, with my luck. I mean, how many of you have heard this? With my luck, it'll not turn out whatever, fill in the blank. With my luck, this will happen. With my luck, that will happen. Think about allowing that stuff. Why wouldn't we say, with my luck, it's going to come out better than it could possibly ever turn out? With my luck, I'm going to get the promotion. With my luck, I'm going to get into the graduate school. With my luck, we're going to get pregnant on the first try. You go on with your bad self. Great. Okay? Well, the other thing is, truthfully, it's all about our thinking. Truthfully, though, I want the luck thing. Personally, I don't believe in luck, per se, because when we look at our lives, how they are, all the positives, all the negatives, all the whatever, all of us as a whole human person, spiritual being in a human experience, how our lives are a culmination of the choices we've made, right? And Oprah, my dear friend Oprah, she just doesn't know, but we're besties. She talks about, I think, I'm paraphrasing, her definition of luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Preparation meets opportunity, which is very similar to what Jim Carrey talks about, actually, when he talks about, you know, manifesting what you want. And there was this old, I actually did not plan this either. I don't typically plan these at all. I got some bullets and it just rolls out of me. His young Jim Carrey self was on the Oprah show doing an interview, and he talked about when he was an aspiring actor, didn't even know people or anything, and he was just thinking, like, I know I have the talent, I have the skill, and I'm willing to do the work. This is what we're going with this, and this is how it's on its way. This is before Dumb and Dumber, and he wrote himself a check for $10 million. I think it was $10 million. And put it in his wallet and carried it around for like 2 years, just focusing on it's on its way. It's what we're talking about is it's on its way. He focused on that. He went up and hung out, on the Hollywood Hills and just like in his car, I forget the exact story, but sat in his car and just envisioned the connections, envisioned it's on its way. And then it was a couple years after he wrote himself the check for $10 million. It was all kind of, falling apart basically in his wallet. And that's when he got the call for Dumb and Dumber, which I believe was the exact same amount he wrote the check for. I could be off this much in my story, but it's pretty good. You can look it up on Oprah. It's amazing because Jim Carrey had it in his head. He had his thoughts aligned with his desires, not focusing on, I'm an actor, doing whatever he was doing to bring an income at that point, probably just, he was focused on, it's on its way. I will be an actor. I will get my big shot. It's on its way. And this is largely what we're talking about. So thoughts aligned with desires. Another good example of how thoughts expand and was different than what we're talking about with the manifesting. Wayne Dyer was talking about this too, but I also have a good friend and colleague of mine at Champlain who teaches healthy aging, and she's all about this too. And obviously there's some genetics. Remember, we're talking about human beings and non-human animals. There are things like, they're just genetic things that happen to us, wild cards like early onset Alzheimer's and stuff like that. God forbid somebody gets that in their 50s, and that's a gene, right? However, for the majority though, we can prevent so much of this. I'm thinking of people in my own life even. I think it was Wayne Dyer was talking about this too, because he is one of my great life teachers. He and Oprah are like two of the top ones. And I've got a good friend of mine, and my in-laws, my outlaws. I tell them frequently I want to bring them in for show and tell to Minecraft, because we know research-based. I'm just going to share about them in a second, but research-based, we know that when people, kind of go through the aging process, not letting it phase them like, oh no, I just turned 50. Oh no, I just turned 60. We're big birthday celebrators in this house too, because think of the alternative, right? But people who just sort of associate aging with decline, mind decline, body decline, again, outside of those wild cards, that's who declines. That's who declines. And I have people in my life, and also including myself, who have no intention of allowing that in. Thoughts align with desires. And I'm thinking of my dear friend, one of the sexiest, healthiest 78-year-olds I know. He knows who he is. I'm just not going to say his name because I didn't ask him about this ahead of time because it came into my head now for his permission. But he's on his exercise bike every single day. He's got a resting pulse that's like, I think it's like 50 or something. It's like a runner who's in their 30s. He's amazing. And he walks constantly. He watches everything. He watches what he eats, but it's a mental game. Mentally, when I sit with him at lunch, I see him for lunch like every other week, nowhere in his head is that he's 78. He'll say it because he gets it. He's not in denial he's 78, but he's one of the youngest minded 78-year-olds I know, because he doesn't allow it in. Nowhere in his head is that he's gonna, I misplaced my keys. Okay, I just misplaced my keys. He reads voraciously. He's aware of what's going on in the world. And the 78 part, it doesn't even fit into his daily thinking. His thoughts are in alignment with his desires, which are to be a spiritual being in a human experience, living life to the fullest. He's got the life by the ass at 78. Somebody I want to be just like. And also, my outlaws, actually, they're returning from Ireland today. And my mother-in-law is 80. She was all over the place. They flew into Dublin, and then they crisscrossed the Ireland because they ended up in Galway. And same thing. Nowhere in their heads. They're talking politics all the time. They're talking what's going on in the world. They're so on their game. And we know research-based. Also, same thing with, if you ask physicians about the will to live, they will tell you that if and this is, Wayne Dyer was talking about this too, I guess he's in my head today, that they would, physicians would much rather a procedure, a big procedure like a heart procedure or something. When somebody goes in knowing health is on its way, and that freedom, body freedom is on its way because I'm going to get through this, versus somebody who doesn't have that attitude and thinking it's going to take them down. I cannot explain the power of thinking enough. So because we know each and every thought we allow to cross our minds expands, it's time, like right now, today, in this minute, to become very, very careful about what we allow to stick. Just say no to autopilot if you want a long, healthy, happy, joyful experience. That's it. Thoughts expand. Do not focus on missing. Focus on it's on its way, because it will all work out. And just relax. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from my living room in northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.